actually looks that. Good evening, welcome to Boro Chat. Hey, look, I've already made it. I'm back off the plane, straight from Teesside Airport. I was running like a robber's dog to get here to meet this fantastic lady, Miss Caroline Walker. Thank you very much for coming and seeing us here at Boro Chat. And obviously we've got the Teesside Rambler, you lay it all about him.
As usual.
He's wrote the notes tonight, so I've had to put these glasses on. They're only cosmetic. Loads to chat about. I'll talk about my little Albufeira trip very shortly, Caroline.
Yeah, Michael Carrick obviously didn't sign you up.
No, he wouldn't let me in.
Honestly.
That's another story. We're going to talk about the new Boro shirt. Now, the Red Rock, he called it last week and he said the shirt will be out on such and such a date. And what happened? Bang. Comes straight out. I think it was Ibrahim Tanner come straight on and said the Red Rock was spot on.
Did.
All right, because he is our Mr. Stato. He knows everything about the Boro. Obviously, it's a rare kit, error kit, whatever you want to call it. What do you think of it, Caroline? Area, whatever.
It's okay.
Be honest.
It's okay, but it doesn't really float my boat massively. Firstly, with the white band missing.
Do you really? We have another chat about this.
I think it's boring. There's nothing there that says Boro, and I think that white band there.
It looks
and that
misplaced.
white band and that says
Do
Boro.
you know what I think is? I always think when Boro have plain Jane shirts, and I'm trying to think of maybe I'm looking at one now on the other side of the studio there, the Garmin one, which just had the red. It had a white band on the left hand sleeve, but it was plain red. Generally, the away shirt's a bit more jazzier.
Yeah, maybe,
so that's what I'm thinking. As the away shirt, which obviously we'll be asking the Red Rock very shortly when he thinks that's out, but. Do we think the away shirt's going to be a bit more jazzy? Bear in mind,
I hope so.
We looked at the training kit last week, Caroline, and it was like the turquoisey one. Turquoise, stop giggling down there, super duper. The turquoise one, but it has Boro wrote in all over on the top of the shirt. The training kit looks fat. Do we think the away kit might be something like that?
I hope
Probably
so.
not.
I hope.
I don't live in much hopes that it'll be anything much different.
I don't dislike it, I must admit. I know sort of a lot of people, it was the and ahhing when are we going to have the white band? And I know there's some people thinking Boro's iconic with the white band, but we have had plenty of shirts without a white band.
Oh, we have, yeah. I mean, looking at that Garmin one that you just mentioned, but that's got something a bit different because it's got the white sleeve and the white flash on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's ordinary.
Yeah, I like the. Funny enough, I hate to say it, but I actually like the shorts. The shorts of the home kit are really nice with a blue band at the bottom.
Yeah. See, I think that is really smart. I like the blue trim around the sleeve
nice.
cuffs is really nice. And we said that when we saw the training kit, that blue that we saw.
The turquoise one.
No, the first team one.
Yeah.
That they were wearing.
The blue one
was the blue and red mix. Yeah. We said that we wonder if that blue will appear on the home shirts.
And it has, yeah.
But
the only time I actually did see Michael Carrick and the guys in Portugal when they were getting off a bus, they actually had last year's training kit on. Do you know the blue one? They were actually all wearing that to turn up for the first day to have a look round where they were going to train. Whether they've just travelled in that, I don't know, but I'm presuming they'll be wearing the new training gear. With Boro Live have been putting all their stuff out. And that's the only place you can see them train really, because it's basically a lockout. You know, the game at the end of the week is a lockout. It's all behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. The training sessions are behind closed doors really, unless what the Boro want you to see.
Can't even blame Marco Bielsa because he's not at Leeds anymore.
Exactly. Whether he's
whether he's think
there's spies out there. But I know that there's loads of expats out in Portugal, and they would have loved to go and see that game.
Oh, they absolutely have loved it, yeah. And people like. We were on holiday, and yeah, absolutely.
And really, it's a hop and flight. I jumped on the one at Teesside, and you're there in sort of like just under 3 hours time. So you could actually fly out and go and see it for the cheap flight from Teesside. Yeah. But anyway, maybe next year. The other big news, Caroline, and it broke. I think while I was out there in Portugal, was Aidan Hackney signing a new contract.
Great signing.
Good for the club.
Yeah. Oh, great for the club. Great for the club, yeah. He thought he had a fantastic season. Get him tied up. Get you, and certainly as well. Look, I know you're going to be talking about transfers in a while, but looking at the type of people they seem to be targeting, it's that young, hungry player.
Yeah.
But when you've got one of your own, you don't want somebody else coming and poaching him. So I think that's a really, really good business.
And I think you said something, Phil, just before we started. Or might you even be in the Red Rock? Only 6 months since he signed his last deal.
Yeah. So it's brilliant that we obviously, as a club, we obviously see him as an integral part of not this squad this season, but over the next couple of years, he is going to be an integral part of it.
Possibly
and that's great.
Captain.
Yeah, because we've in the recent history of the club, we've sort of brought players on from academy and then sold them off for a profit.
Yeah.
So it's nice that actually we're, not putting all our eggs in one basket in one kid, but we've recognised that he offers something that the club are interested in, and obviously want to see us do well with it.
And they probably rewarded him for such a good season last season, where he just came in and he was just a key fixture, wasn't he?
You didn't want to see him out the squad.
No,
there were games where you probably thought it's not his game, we need a bit more experience, but he held his own, and it's great for him to sign a contract.
Do we think that's a Carrick thing though? Do we think, obviously we know Carrick's had a fantastic career, he comes from Manchester United background just alone, promoting young players. Do you think that's what Carrick's going to bring to our club?
I think he is. I think he absolutely is, yes. I think, hasn't he said he doesn't want to sign anybody over, is it over 25 or something like that? He's obviously looking, and that's good for us as well, because if he's looking for a future with Middlesbrough, if he's maybe even going to be with us 4 or 5 years, which is unheard of in these days at any club, that would be fantastic. It looks as though he's bought into it completely. And is taking it over and running with it in a way that no manager has. They've all talked about buying in, but he seems to be buying in completely, with the players he's playing, with the players he's looking to bring in. It looks as though, he's building a Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough.
And let's not forget comments in the past from previous managers and all associated with Man U. Alex Ferguson used to always talk up Middlesbrough because of the ownership. Mourinho's done the same thing in the past. So Carrick's in that position where he's played for the club, where the manager has spoken positively of another club and the ownership, and so it's much easier for Carrick to buy into that project. And if he sees himself being here in 4 years' time, amazing.
I mean, the great documentary, I don't know whether people out there have watched it, I don't know whether you have watched it, but Robson, which is obviously about Brian Robson's career, right from the start from West Brom on to his Man United days and then becoming Middlesbrough manager. And he always that story of Alex Ferguson coming out on the training pitch and saying to Brian Robson, who was sort of in his decline, I think, then at Man United, bit part player, someone in the office there wants to have a word with you, and it was Steve Gibson, and I would listen to him, he said. I would listen to what he's got to offer you. So it's quite obvious Gibson had spoke with Ferguson first and said what his option was. So it's great. Look, don't forget, you can get involved with Boro Chat as well. Send us your messages on social media, all about what we're talking about. We're going to chat about loads about Boro tonight. Loads about transfer rumours. Boro out in Portugal, as we know. A new game, which is sort of end of pre-season game, which has been, and we'll see how Thornaby are getting on as well. So we've covered Aidan Hackney. The big thing I wanted to, the little interview which went out on mfc.co.uk, which, they put some fantastic stuff out. The interview with him, he looked overjoyed, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
He looked like a kid in a sweet shop for me.
He looked like a Boro fan who'd suddenly been given a shirt and said, "Go out and play," which is what he is.
He looked embarrassed at saying, I had a good season last year. He looked embarrassed saying that about himself, and then sort of like, what does it feel like to sign for the club for another 3-4 years? He was like, he couldn't stop smiling. He was like a Cheshire cat. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But a couple more players have been. Have you got all your notes on?
No, I'm just watching comments. I was thinking,
I can't remember.
How technical's he? And I've got a piece of paper.
There you go.
No, I've just got comments. Mate.
Go on then. Let's have a look who's watching.
Luke, is it Luke Bowie? Boy, hello. Joss Havokin says, "Go on, Caroline."
Yeah, hi Joss.
Luke Bowie's come back and said, "Away kit will be blue. Why haven't you two got your Boro tops on?" Interestingly, we don't want to be camouflaged.
Yeah. So we obviously our guests will always come in with some type of red on. I think we had Gal a couple of weeks ago. He came in, he had some type of red top on, Hummel top, I think it was. And obviously we've got all these, our little backdrop here we've got, which we'll be getting. If you notice, for the eagle-eyed ones amongst you, some shirts change weekly, but we don't tell them which shirts change.
Depending on other staples.
Yeah,
we've got, we can change.
There's one shirt that doesn't change though, Phil, isn't there?
It's the Teesside Travel one.
Oh, I tell you, shameless plug there. Shameless plug.
Teesside Travel, by the way.
Don't get it, please, don't get it.
Luke Bowie's come back and said Conte's been sold. Yeah, I think he was sold today. Is it Camille Conte? Young lad. He's gone out. Is it Barnsley? That's the one. I was going to say Luton, but no. But Barnsley he's gone to.
Because Martin Piero, they don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
He said goodbye to Boca Juniors, but they don't know.
Yeah, well, we were
coming back to Boro.
We were chatting about that last week, actually, Caroline, because I read somewhere, and it may have been on the MFC website, or it may have been on one of the fans' forums, that he didn't realise he had to come back. So he realised that he was finished with Boca, but he just thought he was going to be sort of like staying there, you know.
Well, no, I mean.
He didn't realise he had to sort his own flights out with his agent to come back to pre-season training. So whether he's in Portugal, I don't know, because I have looked at a little bit of the videos and I haven't seen him.
I think it'd be surprising if he is.
I'll be very, very surprised.
I'd like to see him come back and have a go under Carrick. Like we have all come to understand that playing under Chris Wilder did become difficult. But I would certainly like to see him. I mean, look at the reinvention of tuba under Michael Carrick, and I know that started under Wilder, but it was Carrick who got all the plaudits for what he did, and I think give him that same opportunity. If he comes back and says I want to go, there's no point trying to keep all.
I think Carrick gets all the plaudits for Akpom because Wilder didn't play him in the position that Carrick played him in. He played him a little bit deep, as we know now. Tuba plays balls in the feet.
He only brought him back in because there was nobody else.
And that's exactly what Wilder did, because unfortunately, and he's one of the three words we don't mention on this show. One's Strachan. The other one's Monk. And the other one now is Wilder, because he down tools, in my opinion. And he give in. And anyone who comes to a hard-working place like Teesside, bear in mind, he'd been to Sheffield. He knows how hard working people.
Yes, it's very similar, isn't it?
You know, and he come here and down tools. But if you listen to other media outlets, certainly TalkSport and Simon Jordan and things like that, it's well known in the game that he downs tools if he doesn't get what he wants. But anyway, that's another thing. But yeah, Piero though, for me, fits the bill for Carrick. You've just said young lad, energetic. So
he's got. You know, we saw in flashes. He's got a bit of skill and he's got a bit of talent.
So whether he does give him a shout, I don't know. It remains to be seen. To be fair.
Just a couple more comments. Caroline Borstead says, "Woo, Caroline Walker, you look amazing."
She does.
And Luke Bowie's come back on and said...
She's only down the road because she's... care home's just down the road, it's Stu and Rise.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she's downstairs in the bar.
Well, she might be, Caroline, to be fair.
And Luke's come back on and said, is Boro Chat and Smoggies on Tour the same thing? No, two totally different. We just really like the scarf, so we put it up there.
Yeah. Is there a group called Smoggies on Tour?
There is a Facebook group, Smoggies on Tour.
Oh, is there?
We're all doing the same thing, so...
Yeah, hey, look. If we can get as many Boro fan groups... If a lot of them work together, it would probably be better, but they don't. They seem to go their own separate ways. But for us here at Boro Chat, we're happy to work with anyone. But yeah, that's just a scarf. I think it was one of my son's old scarves. And the one side says Middlesbrough and it's all in blue and white. And obviously the other side says Smoggies on Tour. Which if we're promoting Smoggies on Tour, hey, I'll be liking that page tonight when I go home. Couple more people. We've been. I've put these on. It's all cosmetic. This, Caroline. It's nothing to do with my eyes.
Yeah. Nothing to do with
they were
eyes,
totally different colour last week, so they're not even Claire's glasses this week.
And next week I'll have different ones because I've actually had my eyes tested today. But anyway, to the story. Sammy Silvera.
Oh, from Australia.
Central Coast Mariners. Is it a done deal, Reggie Rock?
No.
It's not a done deal.
Been accepted.
It's four. I mean, they're saying 4 championship teams, but they've only listed Stoke, Middlesbrough, and Plymouth Argyle.
Plymouth and Hearts have pulled out, haven't they?
Yeah,
so,
they've had a load of bids rejected though, didn't they? So looks like he's going to the championship. Could be Borough, could be somewhere else.
I mean, we've had low. I mean, and bear in mind when Carrick came out and said you've just hit the nail on the head, Caroline, when he said don't want to sign anyone over the age of 25. There was all sorts of things I was reading. Theo Walcott could come up here and do a little bit. Who's the other fella who's just been released from Forest who causes a load of trouble? Jesse Lingard. These are great names on paper. Ross Barkley, but do they fit into Carrick's way of thinking?
Absolutely not. I don't think they do.
They're just exciting players, aren't they?
They're exciting names. Whether they're still exciting players is another thing, isn't it?
But that just shows where the fans want to see the club, and we know spend it like. Ross Barkley's not going to come to the Borough for 25 grand a week like the majority of other players are probably on. he's going to come and he's going to want 80, 90, 100 grand. And although it shows the ambition of the fans, it's not the ambition of the club. And we've got to do it. We've seen what happens in the past when we splash.
We've got to keep a level
head,
haven't we?
It's not necessarily the right thing for the club either.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's exciting to have a big name, or what was a big name, but you know, you want people who can do it, who'll do it week in, week out.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not a Boro Chat, Caroline, if we don't speak about another goalkeeper. Who's
goalkeeper?
been linked
Not another one.
with the Boro. We've had, you know, it was Carl Darlow, which I did say on our very first show. I was 95% sure when I said it live here on the show that it was a done deal. And obviously, Carl Darlow's family, I think they're from somewhere like Horden, which is just up the road. Yeah. But that's looking now with I think Bournemouth have come in looking.
Bournemouth and Leeds are in talks.
Well, I mean,
don't go to Leeds. If you go to Bournemouth, don't.
I mean,
sod Leeds.
I hate to say it. I don't look. Leeds are a big club, and we spoke about Leeds on here before. And
get them off.
I always remember when I was a kid, massive stadium. It still looks a massive stadium today, but I think it's the Bournemouth thing what's turned his head. I think he'd have loved to come here, just all his family just up the road. Yeah. But then a Premier League club comes into here and you think, I'm only a footballer for a little bit of time, aren't I? So I can understand. But
if they're guaranteeing first team football,
exactly. Yeah, and he is a player who does need to start playing because he's been an understudy for a long time, hasn't he? But it's that Senny de Jong from QPR. He's the latest one, Paul, and so we've had a number of goalkeepers. And obviously we've had Sol Bryn come back. We've had Zach Hemming go out back on loan.
They've announced Sol Bryn in the under-21s team, haven't they?
Right, there we go. So there we go. Super duper producer Courtney just chipping in there, telling us he's been
producer. So, it was me this week.
So,
It's rubbish.
Yeah, I don't know who's wrote these notes.
Won't be next week.
Hey, who's wrote these notes, Courtney? But yeah, so another goalkeeper, and I'm reading it straight off the paper. Rav van der Berg, 18-year-old.
Brother of, is it Anthony van den Berg? Or Seb,
I think, isn't it, at Liverpool?
So, I don't know much about this.
But if you look at, obviously you can't because I've not written it on there for you. If you look at the teams that were supposedly beaten, or beaten to his signature, Bayern Munich, AC Milan, like...
He was due to sign for Roma in January.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho wanted him, didn't he?
He's knocked all them back to come to the mighty Boro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
I hope he pulls a shirt on now.
I think they've guaranteed him, maybe not first team football constantly, but they've guaranteed him first team squad, haven't they?
Yeah, so he's going to be in and around it all the time.
He's going to be in and around it all the time.
He'll know about the championship because his brother played 60 games for Preston year before last.
Yeah. And I just think, look, we all know that the championship it's on par, in my opinion. In fact, it's not an opinion, is it? You only have to look at the viewing figures for it. The Championship's viewing figures are exactly the same as La Liga and Serie A. So they're the same figures, really, for the Championship. And we look at in this country, they look at the Championship as being the second tier of football. But across the world, it's renowned. So, you know, it could be a good move for him. And it certainly, again, fits the Carrick type of way of bringing young lads in like that. Yeah. So... And the big one we've got to talk about is Alec Gilbert, Damwe, which is, I don't think, has the club actually announced it? But I know the Evening Gazette have announced it. I know it's been on...
It's on Sky Sports.
It's on Sky Sports. Now, I sort of sent a message to the Regular Rock and Super Duper today and said, get me as much information as we can on Alex Gilbert. So, this is the information we know. You know, he was Brentford B, which is... I think the last time I seen a Middlesbrough B team was about 1979.
Well, I was talking to a Brentford fan today, and he knew very little about him, but he gave me a little bit of the background to it. Brentford actually scrapped their academy.
Ah, right.
And that's why they and introduced a B team, and that's why they can basically go and play wherever they want. They play games all over the place.
Ah, right.
And it's half a development squad, and it's half people who've not quite made it in other places.
And are looking for a
club.
Is it Romeo or Brooklyn Beckham's just signed for Brentford B?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beckham's son's Romeo has just signed. So
I know Glenn Hoddle had some type of place in Spain, didn't he? La Manga in Spain, where he used to get all players like that.
Right,
and he had like a Spanish side put together over there, playing in a lower league Spanish league. and basically it was putting people in shop windows.
Yeah. Well,
That's what it
apparently
was
there's
doing.
half a dozen of the current Brentford first team squad who've come through the B team, so
Right,
it's a bit of a pathway, but I think, as I said, it's a cheaper version of an academy.
Well,
he scored 16, 17 goals.
He certainly has. He scored 16 goals, and he was the actual Brentford B captain, and he's made 2 first team appearances, and actually one of them
was against Middlesbrough.
Was against the Boro in 2021 in the FA Cup. So, you know, he's done a bit. It's not as if he's fresh behind the ears. He's done a little bit. And again, it hasn't come from the club, whether that's because the club's media team is all in Portugal and they're doing everything from over there, because I know all the training sessions and that are going out on Boro Live and things like that. So whether that's because of that, but Sky Sport have sort of announced it, the Gazette have announced it, and generally the Gazette are normally all over it, aren't they? So I think that's again fits the mould of Carrick.
Yeah,
I think
I'm getting Marcus Forster's probably had a bit of input as well. He probably knows him from Brentford.
Yeah, and I just think what a good player to get that is there.
Yeah, it is.
What a good player to have there. I know we've got a couple of older players. I know you're a big, you know, you always say why have we signed these midfielders and that, because we've got that Barazla. And he hasn't had a chance yet.
Barazla.
These
are thinking you're announcing a signing. It. Barazla
from Benfica. No. What is he? Barazla.
Barazla.
Yeah, whatever.
He's the Paul Merson of Boro Chat, isn't he?
I'll be on Arsenal
TV. Get them glasses on.
I'll be on Arsenal TV. So, right. So look, for me, before Phil goes and does our comments again, but. I mean, we're still linked with plenty of people, but I don't think they're credible enough to bring on here, you know, because still at the time, I know there's been a lot of memes going around on social media. Look at me, super duper, all up on social media, memes and that. I haven't got a clue.
Doesn't have a clue.
Just a little cartoon. So, there's lots of memes and things like that going around about the Boro not signed anyone, and why aren't we doing this, why aren't we doing that. But I think I'm hoping that this is the new look Boro, where we don't go out and start spreading rumour and trying to get a better price here. We either go after a player or we don't.
Yeah.
We don't do an Arsenal. Is what you're saying with that? Is it Declan Rice?
Declan
Rice, yeah.
Having Man City ring up and drop a bid to.
Allegedly, don't be having them on the phone to us.
It's been spoken about on Sky Sports. We can talk about it on here.
Yeah.
So Caroline, look, we've chatted about the Boro. Let's have a chat about you. Let's have a chat about
Middlesbrough Supporters Forum.
There we go. So you're part of the Middlesbrough Supporters Forum. Tell us a bit what that Middlesbrough Supporters Forum. For those who don't know,
well, mostly it's the some of the main fan groups. I mean, Boro Chat could get involved, I think, to be fair.
Is that an invitation?
Is that an invitation? We better ask the club.
Yeah, no, nothing to do with the club. It's people like Flying at the Moon, the Official Supporters Club, 12th Man, Disabled Supporters, Boro Fusion, the Rainbow Reds. You know, it's groups like that, and it's representatives from there coming together to meet regularly with the club, so that we can, and because most of them have got online presences and things, so from their members, we can feed back to the club what the fans are thinking about. They don't always take any notice, obviously, but you know, at least they've got that knowledge about what's happening with ticket prices, memberships.
Well, it's like a collective voice, isn't it?
It's a collective
voice of the fans.
voice, because the Boro can't talk to
everyone,
25,000 fans. So it's one way of them doing that.
And there was a sort of general consensus 18 months, maybe 2 years ago, where there was a bit of a disconnect with the club, wasn't there? And the fans. And it was well publicised, so we're not saying anything out of the ordinary.
No, absolutely.
It was well publicised. But I think we've sort of pulled that round now, haven't we?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're getting a lot of engagement from the club, and they do listen to what we say. But I think as a wider thing, the club and the fans, Michael Carrick somehow, I mean, it helps when you're winning and it helps when you're playing good football, but it's somehow him and bringing Woody back, I think, was a genius stroke. And obviously Leo's still there. Just bringing them together, and it feels more like a club now.
Would we like
it used to in the Brighton.
Would we like just getting away from that a little bit? We've never mentioned Leo at all on this show, and we always want to mention him, but then we will always get someone on here saying, look, he's not part of the setup. You know, it's down the road. But you mentioned about Woody. I totally agree with Caroline. I think it was absolute masterstroke bringing him back. And I know at the time there was a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. People saying, well, why are you bringing an ex guy who's sort of, you know, trying to be the head coach? And and he fell flat on his face, and there was a lot of that about. But I don't think it was absolute masterstroke because he knows everything about the club. He loves the club, like we've just spoke about Aidan Hackney. Yeah. You know, you cut him in half, Woodgate, and he's red and white through and through. Do we think there's a place somewhere there under Carrick? Not maybe with the first team, but he's sort of got an ambassadorial role, hasn't he, or something now with the juniors or something like that.
It's pastoral, isn't he?
It's care of. Care of the younger players and
basically
the
just
players,
being somebody that when kids move from their countries and come here for this,
he's
there,
and
it's a pastoral role.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is there a look? We know he's a fan's favourite. Yeah. We know anyone who slaps his chest and loves the club like Leo does.
I think there's a place for him.
Is there? I don't think I've seen him at a home game under Carrick. I have seen him at an away game.
Yeah, I was surprised he wasn't at the Coventry game, the playoff game. That would have got. I know the fans were brilliant anyway, but
you mean on
seeing
the bench
Leo back would have been
maybe up with the directors or.
Yeah. I mean, he might be down the tunnel for all we know, I suppose.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he could be involved in somewhere, chatting to the players or something like that.
Or he does go and stand in the south stand sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times.
With Red Faction, he's been in there a couple of times.
It would just be nice to see him and see that he because
Boro
Boro fans they love him, don't they, for the right reasons. It would just be nice as fans to see him and see that he is still not necessarily part of the first team set, but certainly part involved. Not just down the road at Rockcliffe and everything else going on at the club.
So nice. let's have a look, see if I can get, because I always mess this bit up, Caroline, because I always go and see. So let's have a look. Matthew Wilson's watching, Elliot Bain's watching, Graham Arundel's watching, Luke we've mentioned, Joanne Cochrane's watching. Good evening, Joanne. Terry Cochrane's daughter.
Oh, Terry Cochrane, yes.
Terry Cochrane. Overhead kick against Swansea. I'll never forget that goal. We've mentioned Caroline said Maria Fano's watching. Be my mum, that is. Where am I up to then, Phil? Come on, I always get this wrong. Kirsty Lee's watching. Brentford B team. No incumbents officially yet, Luke said. So, yeah, we did mention that. Whether that's because they're all in Portugal.
In the past, though, just on that with
Luke Bar Laszlo, is it Luke Bowie? He's even picking me up on Bar Laszlo.
The thing with this,
any news on Archer and Ramsey?
Well, the thing is, in the past when fans have been fans and found things that they perhaps shouldn't have found with regards to linked players and potential incomings, they've always been hijacked by like Blackburn and Bolton. Yeah. I think it's great that we're not acknowledging, and the club are doing everything they can to not acknowledge a player coming in. It's difficult when it's then published in the domain with this lad from Australia, but I would much rather not hear anything and then suddenly be surprised with 3 or 4 signings. The other young one,
they have said that there's a medical booked, haven't they?
Is that the Gilbert?
Not Gilbert, the other one.
Yeah, we've just said his name.
You've got him on your notes.
We've just said him.
Is that Van der
Berg?
Yeah.
Van der Berg, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's sort of going to be a sort of the academy type player, isn't he? But again,
you might see it at some point in Portugal this week.
Yeah. So Matthew Wilson, any news on Archer and Ramsey? I don't think there'll be any news on them just yet. With England going so far, they're both away with the 21s, aren't they?
Yes.
Beat Portugal last night 1-0. Amazing that none of that is on terrestrial television.
No.
It's ridiculous. It's mad. It's on. I think the only place you can get it is UEFA TV.
Yeah.
Whatever network that's on. I suppose it's on.
I subscribe to them all. Sky Sports, BT, Viaplay or whatever it is
and
now.
you agree it's pointless?
And I couldn't. Oh no, I love watching them. I couldn't find the under-21s anywhere.
No. Apparently it's only been on UEFA TV, and UEFA did try and sell the rights to all these different countries for the European Championships.
And nobody would buy them.
And now what they're doing now is they're now touting to the British television media, saying, "Look, well you've got a team potentially in the semi-finals." So can you imagine England under 21 going and winning it, and we're not covering it.
We're not watching it.
And the thing is, though, so like, if it was the under 18s or I could understand, but a lot of these under 21s players are established players in their respective teams. People want to watch them, so make it accessible.
Yeah. But you talk about Cameron Archer and Ramsey. Ryan Giles is the one to me I want to see back.
Yeah. So it's gone quiet, hasn't it, about Ryan Giles?
Quiet,
It's gone quiet since we mentioned it last week or the week before, because all the fans out there, they'd love to see him back.
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic going forward. Do I think he's a defender? No, he's probably a wing back, and he's a Brian Robson wing back for me. You know, Brian Robson would have loved him, but
I mean, look at Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah.
Since they've moved him from, because his defending wasn't brilliant. But the assists he put in, and that was with
exactly. Giles' assists speak for themselves going forward. He would play every week going forward.
That left foot.
Yeah, he would play every week. But it's gone quiet on him, Paul, hasn't it? It's gone quiet about Ryan Giles.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It means that no one else has come in and.
Going to Leicester last week.
Oh, shut up, man! I tell you what, we're going to get super duper in a headlock here. He's not going nowhere. One here about the Villa players till the under-21s in the Euros have finished, that we just said there. Joss, Caroline does great work supporting local charities through the forum. She's a legend. There you go. We certainly think so. Naomi's watching up in Redcar. Woody wouldn't have come at first because he wasn't offered enough money, so that's why it got delayed. That's Luke's opinion. Courtney Archer is injured. You're getting told off as well there. Defender and winger is really close. Lucy Abel's watching. Lucy, good evening. Naomi, Leicester want Giles. Naomi, wash your mouth out with soap and water. He's not going anywhere. He's wearing a Boro shirt, and he's certainly not going to that there Coventry. Anyway, I know she's a closet Coventry fan, that Naomi. We know.
Closet.
So Boro in Portugal. Look, I had the pleasure to use the Boro Chat expenses account, Caroline, to get myself all above board. Used. Phil got me this fantastic MFO box with wings. I got over there on. I stayed in a tent just outside of Albufeira with hot and cold running water down the side of it. But I never managed to watch one single training session because I managed to get to the place where the Boro are at. And as you can probably see, and it's not on the North East News, it's not on the only pictures they're using is Boro Live, which I think Boro have sort of like switched on to the fact to say, well, if you want to use any pictures of ours, you've got to come through us. So actually, from the media group at the club, doing a probably sound job there because they're showing what basically
they want you to see.
They're showing what you want to see, what they're doing, what they aren't doing, I suppose. So every picture you see of the Boro in Portugal is all from Boro Live. There's no outside media interference. I actually got to the place where they were training at and started doing my little video like I was trying to do to send back. And the little security man comes running out to me. What are you doing?
You should have filmed all
I
that.
should have filmed it all. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just like a fan. I'm just doing a fan. And he was like, no, you can't. And basically it's like a media blackout. And like I say, I was talking to some people from the north. They weren't necessarily Boro fans, but they said to me that we would have gone. We would have gone and watched the game, even the game which they're playing. I think it's Thursday or Friday night, early Friday afternoon, something like that. I think there's 2 games planned, both behind closed doors. So no one's going to get to see it unless the Boro film it, or whether they put it out live on their channel or whatever they do. We don't know. But look, I had a great time over there. But they're certainly hit the ground running. The Boro. I mean,
literally.
They literally came off the plane, and like I said, I seen them come off the bus. They had a look round the facilities. They had the old Boro training kit on, the blue one from last year, and then the pictures I've seen this morning, they're in the new Boro kit. They're in the new. Can we go and tell him we're filming in here? Can you just say we're filming in here and we can't talk like that? So yeah, just got someone out there in the club. It is a club, I suppose, and they're allowed to do that. So I lost my train of thought. So basically, the Boro are out there training straight away, no messing about. I think they're stopping not far away from the airport, so they're not actually in Albufeira where all the old town is. Yeah, where the tourists are and the local pubs are. So I can't see him being out, although maybe they might get one night off, do you think?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's much about, I know that it's pre-season training, but it's also as much about bonding, bonding, getting everybody together. And I can sort of understand, because it's very early on, maybe why they're not doing a game, that's open to the fans. because he's probably going to be trying all sorts of different things,
It'll
different
be
people.
a training game. It'll be a
exactly.
start.
I can see that actually.
That's
it would be fantastic for them to do a game out there for the fans, the expats and the people
it
who
would be
are on
nice.
holiday.
Would be nice.
That would be great. I think it's maybe just a little bit early in the pre-season training schedule.
But there's a couple of players not there, Phil, isn't there?
Certainly is.
Who?
Matthew Hoppier's not there, and Tuba's not there either.
I know.
Loads of speculation.
So, does that lead us on to the question: is Tuba off?
No, because the club have told us that he's got a niggling injury. He's simply stayed back in the UK to have treatment. So why would you think anything else is untoward?
Well, we haven't heard that before, have we? We haven't heard that before, that he's got an injury and then suddenly he's gone for 5 million to so-and-so.
No, I think...
I do think that I'm not just mean Boro Chat, I mean all the Boro fan groups who do things like this. We all get snippets of information, whether we rightly or wrongly, whether sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But we haven't had one iota about Tuba.
2 and 2,
making
22
we read all the speculation right after the end of the season. Now he's going to go here for 15 million and he's going to go here for 10 million. And all that was quickly petered out.
I mean, if somebody comes in with 20 million, of course you sell him, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But,
30.
But why would he just move to another championship or even a lower Premier League club? Because I think he's got a real loyalty to what Michael Carrick's done for him.
There you go.
I really do.
There you go.
I think he speaks from the heart when he talks.
He's been in the form of his life this last 9 months.
That is because of Michael Carrick, where he's been playing him. He appreciates that the fans have got behind him. Because they could have turned on him easily.
Oh yeah.
And nobody really turned on him. Well, we just didn't see him. He disappeared, didn't he, for a long time, and then suddenly came back. So I think he's got such a loyalty. I think he'll take a lot to prize him away.
I think he would be an idiot to jump ship.
Totally.
The faith that, and I'm not talking about the fans, and I'm not talking about Steve Gibson and. The faith that Michael Carrick has shown in him, I think he would be an idiot at the first opportunity to go, I'm going over there. I really do. And
it's a shock.
It's just
for a footballer, it's a short career, though.
I'd be hugely disappointed if he did, just because I feel as though he's actually a genuine person.
Was it? Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah. But what do you do? Do you come and play?
I mean, we spoke on our very, very first show. We done three weeks ago when we started Boro Chat, and we said, look, if someone come in for 15, 20 million for him, I'm the same. I'm thinking you've got to sell him because theoretically we've seen one good season out of him, and let's be honest, not all of the season was good because the latter part of the season he dropped off. Now we know he's carrying injuries. We know he was. Yeah. The Regular Rock told us that he was carrying injuries towards the latter part. Against Coventry and in the league game, he was carrying injury. So I'm like that. I think if someone comes in with big money, you'd sell him.
But
because
he's not.
Can he do that?
He's not going to score 30 goals again next season. I think we've already got to be realistic.
I'd be happy with 15.
But if we get 15 to 20, then it's brilliant because
I'd be happy with 15.
Players scoring that number of goals.
And I'll do these again, shall I?
Well, I'm just waiting for you to shut up.
All right, go on then. Go on, you do them.
Right. Conte went to Grimsby. Not Barnsley, Grimsby.
Who's picked you up on that?
Who do you think?
Close enough.
Who is it?
I'll mate Luke.
He's our biggest critic, Luke. That's why we love you.
Naomi said Leicester want Giles. You mentioned that earlier on. Naomi's come back on and said I wish Giles was coming to Coventry, but I'd be happy with him at Borough.
I'm gonna give her a Chinese bear one of these days.
And Stuart.
I'm gonna go back there.
Stuart Gawley's come on and said if you had your glasses on, you might have seen them training.
You are right, but these are just cosmetic, you know. I do these to make me look like what's his name, the actor.
What are you asking me for?
I don't know. Anyway, a couple of things before we finish off, because are we running over time here again?
No, we're good.
No. So, it's a funny one, this. So the Borough have announced a final pre-season friendly, Caroline.
Yes.
Against a great side in Real Betis.
Team, yeah.
But it's at Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
So if we want to go, we've got to go to Chesterfield to watch it, Phil. Now, how are they going to get there? Look at that! Oh, shameless plug!
Can't possibly
He's a shameless plug. No, he's a shameless plug.
I haven't said it because we haven't even spoke about if we're going to do it yet.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say we'll take you because I won't fit 40 odd people in a 5-seater car.
No, in Phil's Ford Cortina.
So we'll have a look at it. But we spoke before we came on, Caroline, and I've said that it could just be a case of the pitch gets relayed every year. We know that it could be it's not ready. They might not want it to be overused before the start of the season. And then you had your own theory, and that was that.
Yeah, because I know Betis are being based in the Midlands, so whether other clubs as well as us will be going down to the Midlands to play.
And they've sort of struck a deal up with Chesterfield or something to use their facilities.
Exactly.
It's a strange one. It's a strange one. I've never known it before, to be fair, that the Boro have travelled to have a pre-season game like that. But I presume Boro will be the home team, really. You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Boro will be the home team.
Stranger things have happened.
It is. Well, look, just before we knock it on the head, look, we mentioned last week about Thornaby and that terrible scenes on the internet of what has happened down at Thornaby FC. Look, I've been in grassroots football about 15 years. There's not enough money in it now, you know. There's not enough money in grassroots football as it is, and then something like this happens to a fantastic club like Thornaby FC. And there's not a fan group out there who does stuff like us, whether they do shows or whether they do podcasts or whether they do just videos and they put it on their pages. I don't think there's one who hasn't been supporting Thornaby FC.
Oh, absolutely.
So all our support does go to Thornaby FC. They have got a Just Give 'Em page. So if you just want to sort of put, if you've got look, we know money's tight, but if you've got anything to spare for Thornaby FC, just put it down. They're trying to raise 35 grand, and the grand total, just before we came on air, the update, I think they'd made just over £12,500 in just over a week.
If every Middlesbrough season ticket holder gave a quid.
Yeah.
That's what I always say when we do our food bank collections.
Yeah.
If everyone who's coming to the game just gave one tin or 1 quid.
Yeah.
Your quid's in.
Oh, it'd be fantastic,
Literally,
wouldn't
that would be amazing,
fantastic.
and then that would get them really up and running again.
And like I say, there's not. I wish there was, money in the grassroots game, but there isn't. There's no money for kids. Never mind for young men trying to play.
Sit here and talk about the finances of football for.
Oh, it's about 6 or 7 shows, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you give us a roundup on the last couple of messages, mate, and then we'll knock it on the head.
No, that's it.
Is that it? Well, there you go. Caroline, thank you very much for coming in.
That's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming into our broom cupboard here at the S1 the supreme northeast attraction, here at the
Absolutely, I can see
Get
that.
us on TripAdvisor.
Yeah. What was that thing we have to... And I don't know why we have to plug it, but next Monday after us, so we'll be here back on Boro Chat. I know, listen to this. Listen to this, Caroline. Listen to this.
Can't wait.
So next Monday, after here at Boro Chat, we can't film it, but in the big room next door, where we have our little production meeting before we come in here, there's a clairvoyant on, medium, whatever you want to call it, spiritualist, not Clinton Baptiste, but there is a spiritualist on. Now, there is tickets available at the club. They've asked me to give it, well, the ladies asked me to give a plug. And she said, look, I'd like as many there. Well, if she was a good clairvoyant, she'd know how many were coming. Boom. And on that bombshell, get yourself in the S1 next Monday. I think get your tickets behind the bar and then come and speak.
And you don't have to be a member.
You don't have to be a member. There'll be crystal balls out and tea bags and tea leaves and all that.
Promoted or not?
She better be telling me
we're
getting
going to sign.
She'll be reading my lines, hopefully not on my face on this hand. But anyway, Caroline, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
One last thing before you go.
Yeah.
You mentioned food banks there. I've seen that a few times at the club, and it's fantastic. And to be honest, it gets a lot of good support, doesn't it?
Oh, brilliant.
The fans.
Absolutely brilliant support. We always fill the van with food.
We'll be doing that again
Yes,
next year?
we're just actually working with the club now to work out half a dozen matches where we can pull the van down outside the North Stand ticket office. People say we're not sure when you're there, but the Northern Echo...
That's what places like us are for, and it's where we can plug
the
it.
club, or everyone's social media, so it really gets out there. So we hope we do one fairly early because the demand is just getting more and more and more.
Yeah, brilliant. So look, if you can help your Boro season ticket holders, we can take some tins down or throw a couple of quid in it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've picked that phone up.
It's all right, someone's asked where the club is, so I'm just telling them now.
Where the club is? It's that big stadium near the river. What do you mean where the S1 is?
Where the S1 is.
We'll put all that. We'll put the link. Not that you'd know it, because she should just. Is anybody there?
Put it on your sat nav.
Yeah. Get yourself here. Caroline, thank you very much for coming in to our little broom cupboard. I'm sure if you're available, we'd have you back any time here on Boro Chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teesside Rambler. We'll see you again next week, won't we?
Certainly will.
Have I got anywhere to go this week? Portugal, Spain, Whitby.
Chesterfield.
I'll take your Ross.
Oh, she's as bad.
Get in.
Look, she's
Get
bad.
in.
Hey, and on that bombshell, we'll see you all next week. See ya.